Al tidrosh min aminut, says the Brayta. Shema timshol gehenam. Do not quest after the heresy. Maybe it's going to draw you to Gehenna. I don't think we need to have a explanation of that. Let's see what the Gemara says. They came in the Rechiva Bahadayu. That's interesting language. Since you're riding with them, you're traveling in the same circles. Says Rabbi Chaim, the came Shatam is Chaberi Mahem, you're joining them. Shalimos Chabinani Torah Vemuna. They're going to, that's the next line. Came the Rechiva Bahadayu Umshile Loch. Actually, Mashiach, I would think means they govern you. But he's learning Mashiach like they're asking you, right? They're asking you questions. In Yoni Torah Emuna, in Maz Torah Emuna, Lotim Sama Shiva, I'm not going to find what to respond to them. But Tanim Shach Acharem, you're going to go after them. That's what it says here. Below Ashgachis, Maidid Tisvinu, Badayu. So you won't find what to respond to them. And Badayu, in the Queen of Rabbi Chaim, means therefore going to be drawn along with them. Right? Okay, so that's an interesting thing. That I'm not so convinced by his interpretation here. I would say that it's more kipshuto. Since you're riding along with them, they will govern you. In other words, you will want to be together with them, and you find them cool, and you're really asking them questions. Right? Altidrosh min aminus means you're questioning from them. According to Reb Chaim, they're questioning from you. So questioning you. So I'm not sure, but the point, regardless, is the same that minim are dangerous, and of course we know that not always, but mostly in Chazal, when the term minus is used, it's used for Christians, and if Reb Chaim is correct, which he may well be, then the indication is that they know Tanakh better than you, right? That's invariably the case. The Christian missionaries, they're very very conversant in Tanakh. They know Tanakh very well, better than you. Certainly how to say Shatni Yeshayahu, that the suffering servant is their savior. So therefore, you won't have the answers, and they're going to draw you into it because they're going to say, you know what, maybe they're right. Maybe the way they interpret Chazal is true. Okay, Chazal, not Chazal, the Psukim. Sharei Olam Rachav. Interesting language. The world is wide. You know, some Pesach limit Barecha, and he gave an opening to your speech. I guess. Let's see. Person has some free will. Because Baruch gave an opening for people who speak and people who doubt. To ask and to be astonished. So you won't necessarily have an answer. And this is an interesting question. In the previous Brisa, it said, "Alti bosh mishinecha," right? So tochal yosem idai. They don't eat so much. But here they're saying, we're giving you the penalty, right? Shemati v'shol gehenim, right? So he says, why we mentioned specifically this penalty here? Because it says, it says, all those who enter these portals will not return. So therefore you have to know. Gan Eden again and Barak Kodesh Baruch Hu. Gan Eden again, we're both created by Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's a really interesting line coming up. Let's see Reb Chaim before we get to that line. The previous one before the Bryce, before it said here also didn't bring down the penalty because it's very hard to separate from minus. I think it's very hard to separate from eating too much too. But I guess what?
I didn't hear you. To separate from
eating too much.
Yeah.
Previous right, but okay. So obviously the ramifications are not as spiritually devastating. So Gan Eden lo sagib lo tzadik Gehenim below Russia. I like that lashon. And he says about gan Eden below shu tzaddik again below shu rasha. Reserve out to shash loti mashes gehenim. So he adds your words. He says it's not possible to get Gan Eden without being a tzaddik. It's not possible to get the gehenim without being a rasha. But the pasuk shot is you can't. Gan Eden can't survive without tzaddikim, and gehenim can't survive without rishonim. Meaning that you by being a rasha, you're moshech gehenim on you. In other words, gehenim needs fuel, and you're going to be the fuel for gehenim, right? Gan Eden also needs fuel. The tzaddik is the fuel for Gan Eden. The gehenim needs fuel. The fuel for gehenim is a rasha. Therefore, the place there's not a place where you end up called Gan Eden or a place where you end up called gehenim. You make the Gan Eden and you make the gehenim. That's the word from which I think is the Rabbi Chaim. Right? Chelak is a portion. You have a plot. What goes on that plot? That's up to you, right? So everybody gets a plot, and if you fuel Gan Eden, you get Gan Eden in that plot. If you fuel Gehenim, you'll get Gehenim in the plot, or some mixture thereof.
It goes back a little bit to the Nefesh Chaim as well.
Right, definitely. First shot of Nefesh Chaim. Exactly. Yes, that's what you see. I think you can see from here why a deal like Nefesh Chaim. Very good. Yes. Okay. Brisa. Gadol. So they say a very bad thing about you. That's nice, Muslim. Okay. Chaim says, he adds on. Oh, that's interesting. He says it's not just a question of your own personal anova. It means don't hate them as a result. Which I would have thought without Rabbi Chaim that means that you should take it light and don't feel so bad that other people are criticizing you. Okay, for whatever reason, because it's perhaps good to get criticized. Perhaps it doesn't matter if they criticize you. What matters your chesed with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not your chesed with other people. But he's saying another point. He's saying in the Ben Adam Chavero, you shouldn't resent it as much as you could resent it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what the Gemara says. Va'afilu mila de chashida gadol yakatan. Even in their chashid, a terrible thing. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu Chazal say it's very typical Chazal to understand that Am Yisrael was chashid him in Eishes Ish. And when he went out took the old Moed distant from the camp, there were people in Am Yisrael said, "Oh, he's going distant from the camp so he can take women there and have his way with them." So even great people have great chashados which go against them. So he's saying you should not pay attention to them. If they say a small thing about you, you should disregard altogether. This is a few mil chashida. It should also be a small thing in your eyes. Hakatan below klum im chashduga b'davar gadol amarti yebenaki kakatan. Not sure the word amarta means. But anyway, he's saying the inference of the Gemara is inferring from the Brisa that if it was a great thing, it should be a small thing should be nothing. So it says, wait a minute. If that's the case, you should not try and remove yourself from being suspected, right? It says, right? You gotta be other people have to see you as a good person. And you're not supposed to be allowed to be under suspicion, are you? We learned from Chana, that Chana, when Eli thought she was drunk, she said, "No, I'm not." She didn't just ignore it and say, "Oh, you're right, I'll go home, become sober." She responded. You'll see at Smachami Nachashad. You'll see at Smachami Nachashad. Got to remove someone's suspicion. It says here of Chaim before we see the answer. It says here, if it's a davar katan, you should just not address it at all. But locate Amina Messiah. Oh, by the way, there's another pshat. It's just what you can say in the Bryce and in the Gemara that it could be like it's an avoda. It means first you take a davar gadol, and then you make your eyes to davar katan, and then the same thing, which is now in your eyes like a davar katan, you should make it for lo klum. So it's gradually reduce the concern and hurt and pain which you have from being gadol to katan, and then from katan to lo klum. So it's not necessarily two separate things like we learned, right? So the same thing. It's a process of diminishing the significance in your eyes. So it says more, okay, because anyone's question is, right? But we're giving going. I think it's more powerful. We don't know. We don't say this. Well, he thought that she was drunk. From Mikan Echshabuchule, but Gemara Brachos Damin Haran from base. It wasn't Darba Kotanu. So Chaim is going with this shot that's two separate things, right? There's a Darba Kotanu and a Darba Kotanu. And we suspected to be drunk is the Darba Kotanu.
Right.
At Shimon Klum, she shouldn't have responded at all, according to our price. Right? It says Gemara Tana Beinecha Kama. Hashem Chavirecha. How? Okay, Beinecha Kama says Beinecha Kama Yeh Beinecha Below Klum. You personally should have no peta and not be upset. So, in other words, you should not take it personally in any way, shape, or form. Nevertheless, you still have to clear the suspicion, which just makes it much more difficult, okay? Because you have to be able to not take it to heart and at the same time clear yourself from being suspected. Okay, so have advice. Want to do one more?
Yeah, we do one more.
Okay. Breita. Vim amarta acherim davar ra. Katan yeh beinecha gadol. Yeah. The other way around, if you said a bad thing about your friend, so I just want to point out the next brisa. He says, I'm not sure why the Gemara comes in between, right? But it's really one long brisa, right? Okay, so asik ba'asi b'ksherim. Says Rabbi Chaim, our Bible talking about you talking about a good person. You said a bad thing. Because if it was about a bad person, what's your concern? And Rabbi Chaim, why would you next price is involved if it's Taka Russia and you have to be a farsim that they're Russia, so then you don't have to go be a farsim. So we're talking about when you said something bad about a good person, not about a bad person. But Tani Mefarsim as a Chanefit, you're supposed to publicize people who are hypocrites, right? Who seem to be good people, but in fact are bad people. Vafilu b'Shabbos. Wow, I don't think that appears in the Gemara anywhere. It's also Mefarsim Chanefim, and even on Shabbos in Mefarsim Chanefim. Says the Rabbi Chaim, also da'aba divrei chol. You can't speak weekday stuff. Ha-chanefim mutov mefarsim. You're allowed to be mefarsim chanefim. Probably in shul on Shabbos is the best place to be mefarsim then. That's maybe why Lashon Hara flourishes in shul.
Well, everybody's talking during Shemona Esrei.
Yeah, they'll be mefarsim chanefim. This is from the Sefer Mayan Ganim. Tfusim achroim or some other tfus sacheres logasinan vafilu. Doesn't say afilu b'Shabbos. But it says parts chanefim b'Shabbos. We ate kibbutz hakol. Oh, not afilu b'Shabbos, but on Shabbos because that time when people come together. Okay. So says Mara Hachi Reisha Namik Shem Harpitzim Lo. So it says the time Reish time Yom Rach Davar Gato Yebenecha Katan. If somebody says a bad thing about you, it should be a small thing. Big Shem. There's a talk about Big Shem specifically. Yom Rach Sherim. Would it say them Cholem? And you murder them? Kilu Amr Davar Katan. If they say a small thing, Harpitzim Lo Imam Rach Harpitzim Mutar Chayisrael Liak Pita Leim. Are you allowed if somebody bad says something bad about you to fight them back, right? To take it as a big thing? So Rabbi Shimon, Yomai also class Chavera Mitasi, says Rabbi Chaim, Parsha B'Gemara Mekil Kov Chesamav Kihad Amar Marzuka, Kol Emas Salaga Puria. Anytime I went to bed, Shari Leilchom Mai Mani Mitzarli. I was mochel everybody who caused mitzar. Right? There's Rebbeinu Shalom to say before Kriya Shema Lamita, which is mochel everybody, right? I mean, etc. I never took my friend's curse with me to bed.
Right.
So Reish Yisrael said, no, you're right. It's not the same. Reish Yisrael have feel putzim. You should, even if somebody bad says something bad about you, you should take it as a small thing. But here it's about specifically about ksherim. Okay, I think we have to do the next Gemara. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, lame Messiah Rav Himnuna. Let's say it's evidence Rav Himnuna. Damar low od elishit tzarich lefaiso. You also have to go be mefaisim. So I'm not sure where it's brought down here. Let's see the Rabbi Chaim. If I suspect my friend about something which is not in him, I guess we're talking about since it's ksherim, so it was not true. Okay, that's, I guess we're assuming that what he says is not true. So it's like the he says brachas lamed alf on the base, but being achar sasum lema achar b'ayis Messiah lay. That's his bray's evidence. So el hu damina achar b'ayis afilu b'mili dechashta mayre. Okay, in other words, because in previous bray's we said if somebody's choshed you, so presumably it's reflexive, and here too it's your choshed somebody else, and just like the chashad before was choshed b'ksherim, so the chashad here is choshed b'ksherim. So it seems that you have to indicate go be more ask for mechil tani sorry right? Says Gemara no you hasn't cry ba'alma hacha alicha. There, if you meet up with the guy, you have to ask mechila. Here, you have to go. I should take the fire. That's a very big chiddush. That okay? Let's see that. Cry ba'alma shimitzo tzarich l'faiso. If you're chayshim with somebody, that's amazing. Saying if you're chayshim with somebody, then it's an issue. You have to advise them only if you meet up with them, like Eli and Chana met up. But if you did said something bad about somebody, not just to chayshim them, you have to actually go and find them out and go ask for mechila. That. Have to go seek him out of ask mechila. Because some say, maybe ours are because here it says yelech, right? So there it doesn't say yelech. So maybe it's not. So deal me low ashkecha havas no. Says more not necessarily because maybe in fact even by chayshim b'ksherim. If you don't find him, you have to go. If you don't come across him, you have to go specifically and seek him out, which makes a lot more sense. Okay, let's see. Rabbi Chaim. Rain plea Rabbi Nuna. Lo Marella cry. Rabbi Nuna Eli Yali Flo. Last my cry hava. Lachatan Efilo Lalicha. Rabbi Nuna doesn't necessarily say you have to seek him out. No. Dimi Ladashke hava Azabasrei. Lamar Eli Nami. Ilashke Chalach Chana. It didn't happen. Chana. Dimi hava Azabasrei by so. Oh, I'm sorry. Chana, Eli asked mechila from Chana. Sorry, it was about his Chana. So if had Eli not found Chana, obviously they were together at the same time, he would have gone to find him. You know, Me'eli Eli for a shaysim koma. Kachamar mikanchi tzorch l'paisa. Famous in lo muchacha. We don't know see from Eli any more than if you happen upon each other, then you have to fight. But maybe he also concedes, which would make sense. That if you're choshed somebody, and obviously not choshed, we just had kept it in mind, but somehow it got out in some way, shape, or form towards that person, or that he heard, or somebody else heard, then that makes more sense to say after you by yourself. Okay, very good stuff today. Okay, Mr. Hashem, we'll continue on schedule.
Yeah. All right, take it easy. Next week is I think we changed clocks, so it should be a 6-hour difference.
Oh, you changed clocks? Okay, so remind me, please. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Bye.